Hey everybody, welcome back to week 9 of That Scale RC show. I am one of your hosts, Jeremy Kendall, here with
Adam Dean.
and our special guest today, RC Girl.
What's up? Thanks for having me.
How would you like to be addressed? Or do you want to just be RC Girl, or do you have a name, or how would you like to do this? Because we can keep you anonymous if you want.
No, call me Haley. I mean, my friend started calling me RC girl now, but yeah, let's just call me Haley. I think this is pretty informal chatting.
Sounds good.
Okay, perfect. So let's start off with where could our listeners find you, and give us just a quick little background about yourself.
Yeah, so I started RC girl. I don't know. I would say maybe about a year and a half ago. But you can find me on YouTube, youtube.com/rcgirl. And I'm also on Instagram and Facebook. On Instagram, I'm RC_girl. And then Facebook is facebook.com/thercgirl. Also have a website, thercgirl.com, lots of different venues. But I would say my main forum is YouTube, and I try to do YouTube videos that engage the newbie to RC, people that haven't been in the hobby super long, do tutorials, tips and tricks, run videos, and super new to the crawler scene. So I got my first crawler about a year and a half ago, my Traxxas TRX4, and then I felt like I definitely found my niche in the hobby of RC. It was like, I don't know, I really enjoy doing this. I like scale building. I started flying recently too, getting into RC flight, testing out FPV drones, so kind of dabbling a little bit, but I think like definitely my touchstone is the scale world for sure.
Nice. Yeah, we're going to make sure to put up all your information on our Facebook page, so that way anybody listening can find it, because I know that was one comment we had from previous episodes, is stuff we talk about having links so people can find it and easily access it. So we'll definitely get that up. So let's start this off with a little questionnaire. We try to do this with our guests just to kind of break the ice, get them engaged with what we got going on. So the first question is, what would be your favorite scale crawler?
My favorite scale crawler. Oh, this is so hard. I mean, I would have to say, like, I know it's old now and they've come out with tons of different iterations, but the Traxxas TRX4 is like where I entered the hobby in the scale world, and I don't know, it was just, it's been a fun build to learn about the scale hobby, upgrading and doing different upgrades to it over time, working with different companies and learning about how to unlock and lock your diffs and high speed, low speed, and so it's been a learning experience, but also a ton of fun. I'm still running the old Defender body. I know people are like, it's so top heavy, but it's been fun to learn about, scale crawling with it.
Awesome. What would be, or where would be your favorite place to go crawling?
There's this place in Santa Cruz that I mountain bike. It's called Demonstration Forest or Demo Forest. And right where you park at the entry of the trail, there's this bridge, and underneath it, there's this awesome, like, kind of rocky river. So you get the water features, you get some rocks, you got kind of the loamy stuff that I don't know, it's just lots of different challenges, I think. And it's beautiful too, when with, clean running water. And after a mountain bike ride, when you're super tired, you can just get out your RC. People are like, what's that? And it's fun to share the hobby with people that have never seen it before.
Yeah, I'll have to check that out, because most of my stuff's always been the Sierra Mountains, and I know Jay's farther up north in Washington, so but yeah, I know since you're new, you might not have an answer for this one, but what would be your favorite event?
My favorite event, actually, what I was challenging you guys is to teach me about all the different classes, but and I don't know, I haven't been to tons of different events, so I don't have an answer to that, but my next one is Axial Fest is kind of what I'm aiming for as my first scale crawl event. So hoping to make it there, do some filming and interviewing people, and maybe even competing with my bomber. Everyone's been saying I have to do like the 5K thing, running with my bomber.
The 5K is challenging, and especially at the high altitude. I'll tell you, from attempting to do it with Jay, what was that, 3 years ago now? 2 years ago?
2 years, jeez.
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah, it's it takes a lot out of you, especially because like this year Donner's even a little higher than Cisco, so it's at like what 7,000 feet in elevation. So you really need to train. But I mean, you mountain bike, so you probably whoop my butt anyways.
Like, so what? How would I do with a stock bomber? To
You'd
be
do
honest,
fine.
You'd be fine. You'd do fine.
There's actually some other girls that do the women. I'm sorry, I say girls. I'm dumb that way.
RC girl.
Okay, so there's other RC girls out there that do the Ultra 5K too, and it was really cool to see them. And I mean, I think all of them have finished in the past. The year that you and I had done it, Adam, that's when I had seen some guys out there with their girlfriends and stuff. I thought that was awesome. So no, if you mountain bike, you've got it. Just hit up Chris from Altra, Chris Jones from Altra. He can give you the whole rundown because it's kind of his baby. So it's
Sweet.
You'll love it.
And honestly, so you'll actually probably fall into a different kind of category, because I know how they've broken this down, or how they break this down in the past is like if you're running and you have a brushless setup and like your super, like, I guess, modified rig, if you come in, you know, if you place first, second, and third, they'll give you a first, second, and third kind of like in that category. Now, if you finish in, like, let's say your bomber is pretty much stock, then you'll be in the stock class. And also, you'd be in the women's class, so you'd be able to probably double place because you'd be running stock electronics, and there's also the women's category. So, yeah, so it's kind of, so like I said, it's a fun event. It's challenging. It takes a lot out of you. You really just have to just pace yourself. It's really the key to it, is all I got to say.
Yeah, if you finish it, that's good. That's a win. I mean, it's you'll place well just finishing it, because it's hard.
The other cool thing too, if you do plan on doing it, because I probably won't do it, let me know, because I will be there. It's always good to have somewhat of like a little area, a pit area, if you have to repair. We did that last year with Jason from CKRC. He said, this is my goal, because he was closing down the shop, getting out of RC. He said, I want to finish, a 5K. So he lost a servo. So I mean, it was like full on. It was full on.
Had to change out a servo. That's crazy. So wait, I guess my question for you guys: what would you recommend someone bringing with them on one of those events? Like tools, hydration pack. What would you recommend?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Really, it would be hydration pack and maybe a couple tools. Like, for instance, your wheel falls off, or like something minor that you can do on the trail. Fine. That's what I was kind of saying. It's kind of cool to know if you're gonna do it, to have kind of like a pit area, or have somebody or people that can help you, because sometimes some of the stuff takes a little bit more than just repairing it, because with the Scale Ultra you can actually repair your rig. It's just like King of the Hammers. You could repair your rig, get back out on there, and keep going. So you don't have to, just because you break, oh, that's it, I'm out of it. Because if you can actually fix it and keep going, then you can keep going. I didn't finish when I did it because my electronics completely died on me, and I didn't have anything to replace it with.
Dang. What happened? Did you have water?
No. Basically, I picked the wrong setup. There's some miscommunication with Jason when I was ordering my electronics for that. I told him I want the same electronics that I have in my SMT10, which was a Castle non-censored, basically a short course setup, but it could handle what it was doing. He sent me a short course setup for a really light rig, and my bomber's like 7 to 8 pounds, and they even say on the one that I got, because it has the Sidewinder 3, up to 7 pounds. And I think just constantly being on the throttle and romping through everything, I kept browning out. So it was like, or thermaling out, it would get too hot. So I was like, all right. So I'd have to let it cool down, then start up again, cool down. So finally I just said, I'm standing around more than running. So I just said, all right, that's it, I'm done.
So I should aim to finish, and that's a good success.
And you could finish with stock electronics, because Elio's son did it last year with a bone stock axial blazer and finished.
So you can use any rig you want? Is there any rule?
Yes.
Oh,
You can.
interesting.
The only things there are rules. You'll have to look them up, and I know I probably can do that right now while we're chit chatting. But there's certain mods you cannot have on the rig. Like you can't have metal axles.
Oh,
You
wow.
you can still do the event, but if you place, you're basically disqualified.
Hmm.
So there's
Okay.
certain things that they don't want you to have. But yeah, I don't think there's a motor cap. I just think it's really there's stuff like I said, the metal axle, stuff like that, because I don't really know what the reasoning is behind it. My guess would be, a fair advantage. So if somebody gets stuck, everybody has a chance of snapping their axle. I don't know. I mean, I really don't know what their reasoning is behind some of the rules, but
Chris probably knows. I bet Chris could probably
Yeah.
has a really simple answer for that.
And then who's Chris? Sorry for asking. I don't know
Chris,
everyone yet.
his name's Chris Jones from Ultra Running Shoes.
Okay.
Yeah, he's on Facebook as Chris Crew Jones. He runs all the scale ultra 5Ks. He was the one behind the one that was actually just down at Proline by the Fire. So
Sweet.
Super great guy.
Yeah. So let's see. I'm like losing track of where I'm at. Okay, so we did favorite event. Okay.
That was yeah.
Current number of rigs you own.
I was going to add them up before we did this podcast. I have a lot, actually, and I should probably be giving some away because my house is getting a little bit full. But I can talk. I don't know how many rigs I have, but I think I have. So as far as scale crawlers, got the Traxxas TRX4. I got the Gen 2 Barrage after that. Got an SCX-10-2, which is my next build, which has been taking me a while, and I would love to chat about what I have planned for that. But one of my recent builds is a XS01 from Extra Speed, and they're a Chinese company, but they're actually, this is a legit, I'm really excited about it. It's like mostly metal components, and been building it up. I did my first hard body. I did a full YouTube series on it. So that's, I think, crawler number 4. Yeah. So, and then, yeah, I got a bomber, and I guess, is that technically scale, or is that outside the scale class? Yeah.
I think it falls into that, yeah.
Yeah.
The bomber's been awesome. I actually just did a YouTube collaboration with a mountain bike channel called Awesome MTB, and we let them take the bombers and just like launch them off mountain bike trails, and we kind of did like an MTB versus RC collaboration.
That's cool.
It was a ton of fun. Bombers are like kind of my go-to.
It is a
rig,
great
just
rig.
like sharing
It's
with
like,
people that have never done RC before.
if you got to pick one, the bomber's a good one to have, just because it can do everything well. Like if you had to like choose one RC, that'd probably be the one to keep, I would think.
Yeah, it's fun. I do have to get the sway bars. It has like a tendency to roll over, but I just kind of know.
Huge difference. That
Only turn one direction.
Lower it to where the links in the rear trailing arms are parallel with the ground. So like lower the ride height on it. And those things are awesome. Like you can make them corner like a Yeti. There's just a few little setup tricks, and that is such a capable and competitive rig. So you're gonna have a lot of fun with it.
Awesome.
Oh yeah. So the next one, like I said, this might be another no answer. Comp running or trail days? Which one would you prefer?
I haven't done any comp running, but I'm doing some research on it, trying to learn about the Sorker rules and stuff, and you guys were sharing some tips about them and the different classes and stuff. But I don't know, I kind of just, I'm like your backyard basher, backyard crawler. I set up a course in my backyard, kind of around a couple acres, and have a crawler course, made some features. So I think, yeah, I would just say a trail day, using the natural terrain, a couple features that I built, and it's just, having friends over, or using a hiking trail or whatever, finding a cool crawler spot in the natural terrain, I think would be what I've been doing, I would say. But definitely interested in learning more about the competition stuff, for sure.
Nice. So next one is, have you discovered a favorite tire yet?
Oh my gosh, actually I just got a huge tire delivery from Proline on Monday. The sand paws. I just put 4 sand paws on my Pro MT 4x4 monster truck. That thing looks freaking sick, and I can't wait to take it on the beach. I know this is a scale RC show, but
no, that's fine. That's
dang,
cool.
the sand paws. Those are, But I just also got the KM3s in the Predator compound, which is the super soft compound. Gonna put that on my Jeep, my XS01 builds. Yeah, I think I'm starting to learn more about tires, the different tire classes too, the different sizes, but yeah, I would say learning about different compounds too, because there's a lot of parallels with mountain biking. There's so much technology and innovation that goes into mountain bike tires, and Proline's done a lot of, I think, progressive stuff of using different compounds in their tires, and so yeah.
Those KM3s you are gonna love. Those
Sweet.
the Predator compound is almost like cheating. It's crazy.
It's
how
so
soft they are.
squishy.
Oh, it's nuts. Like they'll sit there and like stick to the rocks, and you'll see like the rim turn and like the sidewalls kind of ripple on them. Like they have insane traction. It's kind of like the first time I tried them, I kind of just started cracking up just because it was so unexpected that it's like, you got to be kidding me. Like I can't do this, Like it was pretty cool. So you're gonna have a lot of fun with those too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, it's been cool working with Proline.
Aren't they great? Paul's such a cool guy.
Yeah, I watched their YouTube series? Is it like on the bench?
Like in the garage or in the shop, something like that.
Something, yeah, they have like a whole series, and he did this video on different tire sizes, compounds, different, like the Hyrax and KM3s, KO2s and stuff, and just learning about the different products that they offer was really cool. And like, I didn't even know too that I always wondered what the colored dot on the tires was, and I think it differentiates. Is it differentiating the compound or?
Mm-hmm. Correct.
Yeah. So that's.
If I'm not mistaken, the orange is the G8, and what is it? Yellow is the Predator.
I think it's blue.
Or blue. Sorry, it's blue.
Yeah, and I think they did that just mostly because BFG, they have like the red dots and the blue dots. Like that's how they do their 1-to-1 tires. So I think that's kind of the direction it went. It's really confusing with racing because with Proline you've got like 6 or 7 different compounds to choose from in addition to like 12 different tread patterns, so it's pretty crazy on the racing side.
What would your guys' favorite tire be?
Oh boy.
Flipping the question on you guys.
Adam, you first.
All right. Well, this is easy because I have all my answers in my phone already. Well, because these were the questions we asked each other on the first episode. That's
right,
why.
Yeah.
So mine would be the Proline BFG crawlers. Hands down, I love those tires because obviously they're scale. So that gives me really good big points, and they just work. I could be wrong. I don't know if they have the Predator compound in the crawlers, but I have the original ones, and those ones blew my mind. So if those ones worked as well as they did, and they're this G8, then the Predator compound would be even more insane. So
HPI has those Predator compound crawlers on it. You need to get some.
Okay.
Sweet.
Yeah, they're ridiculous. Yeah, up here it's pretty much like if you're wanting a scale tire that looks good, the Swampers, the Prolines, even the little ones, not just the XLs, are phenomenal up here. They clean out really well because Seattle, it's mud and rain, so it's kind of you need something that can handle a little bit of everything. So for scale wise, crawlers are the Swampers, and then if you're going for just performance, I don't know, the Hyrax works really well too. That's a great tire, but I'm a nerd, so I kind of like the whole like replica scale looking tire too. So
yeah, I wanted the mud terrains because on like the I don't know, I made my Jeep look like the Moab, the highest trim package, or I'm trying to anyway.
Cool.
And they run the mud terrain, so I was like, I gotta have mud terrains on this.
And they're a good looking tire too. Like, they look mean, and like the Proline ones are awesome on so many different types of terrain. Like I have them on my Night Customs Jeep, and
cool.
They just chew through stuff. I mean, gravel and loose rock, like they just it's weird. Like you watch them and you can just see them just kind of chew through the dirt until they find a point where they get traction, and they always do. But it's
awesome.
it's a really fun tire to drive with.
Yeah, they don't look that aggressive. I was surprised, but I'm excited to test them out, see how they perform.
Yeah, you can't lose, especially that Predator compound. It's crazy. It's like chewing gum.
Oh, yeah. So, next question, favorite motor size. Now, you can answer both brushed or brushless, if you've dabbled in either one yet. If not, just a motor that you're very fond of.
Motors. So I can tell you about a motor I have in the mail coming this week from Tekin for my SDX 10.2. I have a 2300 kV, the Rock 412, with an RX4 ESC combo. So I'm excited to try that out. I heard it's like top of the line, gonna be awesome. Do you guys have experience with the Rock 412?
Oh yeah, yeah. I've been a Tekin drive. Well, I started racing RC before I did crawling, and so that's how I know those guys, because they're just over in Idaho, so we'd see them
Yeah,
at the
they're based
races
in
a lot.
Idaho.
Yeah, so we've been friends with the Campbells for like a number of years, and
Cool.
that 412 is a monster.
The 412, is that how you say it?
Or,
Yeah.
yeah, Rock 412, 412.
Sweet.
I'm pretty informal that way. I guess if I'm talking about their products, I should call it by the right name, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. Thank you. You never know who's saying it
Yeah,
right.
yeah, no, it's good stuff. You're gonna like it, and their quality is just second to none with their customer service and stuff. Is Ty your contact there?
Yeah, he is, and his wife sent me the follow-up email. So
Oh,
it's
right
awesome.
on.
I saw photos like during the winter they were like snowed in and had like snow up to the rafters at their at their shop or whatever. It's
He's
crazy.
trying to get me to move over there and go to work for him, and I'm just like, oh my god, dude! Like, I barely get by with the rain and stuff here. Like, I get cabin fever bad, and I don't know. I mean, luckily working there, I guess you'd have like a lot of, things to keep you occupied. But that winter, I mean, they have real winter. That's crazy.
It's crazy.
I don't
But
think I
Ty,
could
he has
survive it.
some like sweet builds. I follow him on Instagram, and it's pretty cool.
They're a smart group of people. Zach, it's crazy. So Zach is their engineer, and he does like a lot of their graphic design and stuff too. And Ty and Zach have drawn all of that stuff, like the rally trucks and everything. They do all of that in house. It's just absolutely insane.
Sweet.
And they originally got it to print the 3D printer to print prototype ESC housings and stuff. And
Oh, interesting.
I think they still do that, but I think that Ty and Zach probably kind of took that thing over, and it is just made for more fun stuff now instead.
Cool. Yeah, he's building like a custom 3D printed. Is it a Unimog? I don't know.
Yeah, he's
Checking out
got a
his build.
Unimog. He's got a Stuart Stevenson, which was the first one. That was the Army truck, and then he did the rally truck, which I forget what that one is. I don't know. I'm drawing a blank now, but he's on his second rally truck now that they're printing out, and then he's
Okay,
got a
I think that's what he's
Unimog that
working
he's
on.
working on too. He posted the Unimog on our SOR page today, and it's
That's the
looking
one with
really
like the
good.
sand colored.
No, that
Different
must
one.
be the rally one.
Oh, okay.
The one with the real wild Tekin graphics on it. That's the sand color. That's the
Yeah,
rally
yeah.
one. So that's like the very second one he built, and the new one's gonna be even better. Which I don't know how that's possible, but it's gonna be really cool. It's a lot of fun to watch.
Have you guys gotten into the 3D printing yet?
My kid handles all of that. We do just performance stuff for our business. Like, we don't do like gas cans and scale things because the market's pretty saturated with that right now.
Yeah.
But we do like skids, and there's some other stuff we're working on. So it's out of my area expertise. I want to learn really bad how to do CAD drawing and stuff, but my kid went to college for it, and so he's got like his CAD certificate, and so he gets to do all that, and then I get to just sit here and make things pretty, and that's it. So I don't really know anything about
Yeah,
it.
I have friends that do the 3D printing. I've never dabbled in it. Just like Jay said, I have a hard enough time getting my vinyl plotter to do what I need it to do. So I leave that to the professionals.
It looks fun, but my God, it looks like a lot of just too much to learn, and like
Yeah, big learning curve.
I'm just way technology deficient to be able to tackle something like that.
Yeah, for me, it's more time, because all that stuff takes time to sit there and design it all out. I mean, unless you know what you're doing, because there's some people that just whip something out in 2 seconds in CAD, and you're just like, are you serious?
James Knight.
Yeah, no, his stuff is awesome. I met him at AMA Expo last November down south in LA, and I was like sort of starstruck. I was like, I know you.
That's
I know
how
your
we were
stuff.
too.
It was embarrassing. I felt like
We
a
were the
fangirl.
same way. My kid, very first Axial Fest we went to, my kids all, Dad, there's James Knight, there's James Knight. And so he went over and talked to him, and actually that whole relationship with us developed because of my son going over and just having James spend time with him and talking to him and stuff. And now we do stuff together and
That's
friends.
awesome.
And it's yeah, super great person, just way too talented, but great guy.
Yeah, he has a ton of cool stuff. Yeah, he reached out to me when I was just kind of like burgeoning on Instagram, and he's like, "Hey, I would love to send you some of my stuff, like to put on your Defender." And I was like, "Wow!" Like, I was, yeah, another starstruck moment.
Isn't that the coolest feeling? You're just like,
Well, the cool thing about James is he's like a real person. So, you could say he's a star or whatever. He just is like, yeah, I'm just Joe Blow. So don't worry about it. And that's what makes him a very, awesome person. He was actually camped 2 spots down from us last year at Axial Fest.
Oh, awesome.
So when he released the Canyon cooler, I was following him online, so I knew that he was going to have it with him. So I was over there as soon as I saw him all set up. I was over there. I'm like, "Do you have the Scale Canyon cooler yet?" And he's like, "I haven't pulled them out yet. I still have to finish up a couple things on them. Then they'll be ready. Come back in a few hours." So like we'd hit the trail, come back in a few hours. "Do you have them yet?" Like, I mean, I was like fiending for those things, and he finally got them out like on the second day. So I was like,
Cool.
so yeah, because I'm also pretty good in JS2, pretty good friends with the Canyon Cooler people. So when he offered the Scale one, I was like, I gotta get it for my rig. So
Yeah, actually, he was the one that referred me to SOR graphics.
Oh.
Because some of his rig, I was like, "How do you get that like
he's been
cool
great
look
about
on your
that.
Jeeps?" And he's like, "SOR, reach out to them." So
He actually puts them on better than I do. Like it's crazy. I don't know. He's just one of those people that's too good at too many things. Have you met his wife, Kat, yet? You're gonna love her.
No, I haven't. I have
She is like, she gets along with everybody. Like, you will get a kick out of her because she's Australian and he's English, and so it's super funny. Like, she's the sweetest lady. Like, you'd really enjoy speaking to her.
not. Sweet. Yeah, I don't know if she's at Axial Fest. I'll have to meet her.
Probably. She's been there, I think, each year. They make it kind of a family thing. It's been pretty cool.
Oh yeah. So I'll speed this up because there's probably this one I don't think you'll have an answer for. Is there a favorite body you wish was available in RC form?
A favorite body. What is it? The Jeep Gladiator, I think, that just came out in full scale. It's like the
Yep.
Jeep looking truck thing, and everyone's like, "Should this be coming out in RC?" So I know they make a ton of Jeep bodies. So, but yeah, I think that would be pretty cool.
Awesome.
Very.
And then the next scaler you would buy is
I mean, the Team Associated, their new rig looks super cool. So, I mean, I would have to say probably, is it the Enduro Sendero?
Mm-hmm.
That's the one. Yeah, it looks cool. I don't have any trucks yet. I mean, I have a Jeep, I have a Defender, but I don't have any like ones that look like an actual truck. So yeah, I think there's some cool innovations on that that I would love to try out.
That transmission with the overdrive, that's going to be huge
Yeah.
for them. That's very cool.
Yep.
Yeah, and one thing to say about that, it's actually nice to see another company kind of like not afraid to, I guess, utilize stuff that's already available. I know that, I guess the history says that Team Associated started the 3-gear transmission that you see in a lot of the rigs, but the bolt pattern for the bottom of theirs is supposedly identical to the SCX-10 transmission, so you can actually put either transmission in, I guess, either rig, because you could take the axial one, put it in the Enduro, and you could take the Enduro and put it in the axial. So I think that's kind of cool, because a lot of people try to brand their stuff to be their stuff only, so the fact that they're not afraid to do that was, it's a pretty cool innovation.
Well, it's smart because people right away can do, an axial 3-gear style trans with a VP housing and basically have a Vanquish, transmission and throw it in their Associated if they want. But the fact that they paid attention to the market and realized that people really do like the overdrive or the combination of over and underdrive. Like, I mean, it's a huge hop up, and it makes an incredible amount of difference, like not just with climbing, but with your turning radius too. And the fact that they listened and offered that in the same, I mean, you don't have to buy anything extra. It's all right there. Like, that's actually a very smart idea.
Oh yeah.
And they also have like is it the behind the axle steering? The servo's kind of positioned behind the axle for more clearance.
The servo's up in the chassis, kind of like how it is in the SCX-10 too. It's just the tie rod goes from knuckle to knuckle behind the axle instead of in the front. I've had that debate with a couple of my friends. It's a cool idea. I have that set up on more of a comp style rig that I have because, you know, it's not something that's going to hang up. As far as if you want to get down to what I call is traditional scale, like what you'd see on a 1-to-1 rig, that's not too common. So if you want to be nitpicky scale-wise, I don't think that's like the most scale thing, but if you're going performance, it's definitely a game changer because it's one less thing to hang you up on a rock.
I like that feature on the Venture a lot. Like, that's one of the things I really do appreciate about that truck.
Sweet. Yeah, and I think, what did they say? They have like a 4-pole motor instead of 3. Is it like brushed? Is it a brushed motor that's stock in that?
It's a brushed motor. It's a brushed motor, which is actually funny to any of the, if there's any big names in the industry listening to this, do you think they would ever release a ready to run with a brushless setup in it? I don't think there's one rig out there that comes factory ready to run with a brushless setup in it.
Yeah,
it kind of like bumps the price a bunch too.
Yeah, it does.
People want to customize with their, you know, castle or whatever they want to run. People usually have like a go-to.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. No, I was going to say, actually, I had asked that same question to Ty once because I said, you know, you're such good friends with the guys at Axial, you know, how come you haven't worked something out to where you've got your stuff in their cars? And he said, man, it's just price. He goes, you know, with crawling with a sensorless or, you know, a censored brushless system, the price jumps up a lot. So, yeah, I mean, you hit the nail on the head there.
Well, yeah, but prime example, look at Traxxas with the Slash. They have like 4 different tiers. You can get the 2-wheel drive, the 4-wheel drive, the 4-wheel drive with brushless, the 4-wheel drive with clear body, and, you know, all like there's different tiers. So I guess you could say there could be a market for it because, you know, there's some people that just want to point and shoot. They want to get the car, get it out, start running it. They don't want to have to install anything. And then there's other people that want to build it. So I think it probably wouldn't hurt. It would definitely be one of those, I'd say, would be an upgraded one and just let it be known, yeah, this comes upgraded to begin with. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see if any of them would ever come out with a brushless ready to run.
I think if someone were to do it, I think Associated would, just because with their, you know, in-house Reedy brand, they push that pretty hard, especially with like their race drivers and stuff. I know that a lot of their team guys are required to run Reedy stuff, so it wouldn't surprise me if they step up and do something like that. But I mean, it's a huge commitment from a manufacturer. I mean, it's like anytime you make any sort of a move like that, I mean, you run such a huge risk of product not moving for whatever reason. And like you had said, Haley, with like, you know, people like to customize it and put their own brand and stuff. You want to cater to that, and that's good and economical for you as a manufacturer. But on the flip side of that, you've got the guys that are like, this thing's so slow, and oh my god, it sucks. And, you know, like,
super
get
picky.
they get it out of the box, and it's like they expect it to have everything for nothing. So it's really hard to find that happy medium. So I don't envy the position that these guys are put in when it comes to making decisions like that, because all of that stuff is like financially huge, you know?
Yeah, I bet my guess would be that they're going to come out with a kit version real soon. You know, people can just buy the kit, build it, put whatever electronics they want in it, and lower price point.
There's you know what on that one you wouldn't change though, because it's like perfect. Like, it comes with metal links. I mean, it's got everything. That's a crazy part.
No, it's very true. What I was going to say is I'd almost like to see something that hasn't been out probably for the past 9 to 10 years. I'd almost like to see someone bring back the ATR, the almost ready to run, where it's basically the rig's there. You just got to install electronics and you're ready to go.
Like a roller, or you still want to build it?
Right.
No,
right.
it'd be a roller. The one that I remember, because when I was getting into the hobby and into crawling, Axial still had the ATR, the almost ready to run Scorpion, and I was trying to decide between, do I go crawler or do I go scaler? And my buddy at the hobby shop talked me into the scaler. So, yeah. So, but it was kind of cool because it was something different, because you could actually get a rig that was already all assembled. So to somebody who wants to get into the RC game and they're not quite sure how to assemble everything, and maybe they're intimidated by it, or they're just not sure themselves yet, they can get something that's already put together. So you're like, okay, I know that part's going to be good. Now let's put electronics in it. And a lot of hobby shops, like, even if you don't know how to, solder or set up the stuff, a lot of hobby shops will help you out with that. And they have people that do repairs and installs and whatnot. So I think it gives an option to somebody who may not, know how to do all that. Give them options as well to have a somewhat customized rig, but at the same time, they know it's been put together, I guess, if they feel correctly, or whatever you want to use.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I would encourage people that are, like, my first foray into RC was actually team associated. I got a B3 buggy when I was in my teens, and I bought it as a kit, and I think that's the best way to learn. I mean, there's always people that are like, ready to run, that's crap or whatever, but I think, I think there's a ton of learning that can happen with putting together your first kit build. So I would encourage any listeners out there to definitely, rollers are great, but I would definitely try out a kit. I mean, I could do it at the age of 17 or 16 or whatever, so.
That's pretty cool that you were interested in this clear back then. I didn't know that your history went back that far. I mean, that's crazy. So was it like your dad and you, it was like a father-daughter thing to go do, or like what? How did that even happen?
So my brother had an old Radio Shack car, and I took an interest in, like, building and trying to figure out, like, it was broken, what can I do to fix it? I tried a bunch of things, I disassembled it, and then I took it to a hobby shop down in SoCal called Hot Rod Hobbies. And
oh yeah,
have you heard of Hot Rod Hobbies?
Oh yeah, that's a very famous
hobby shop. Yeah, they have a racetrack there. Yeah. Jimmy Babcock worked there. He was a competitive racer at the time. I don't know if he still competes, or I'm sure he's still involved in RC.
A lot of announcing. He's one of the most sought after promoters and announcers.
Oh sweet, yeah, I had a crush on him as like a teenager.
Oh no kidding. Yeah, no.
But he told me about the B3, and that was like their latest kit at the time, and I got the electronics and assembled everything, did my first soldering, and I had a friend, Brittany, she was my pal, and we were the only two girls. They let girls like race on the track for free, otherwise you had to pay a couple bucks. And I started in RC like maybe 17 years ago, took a break for a long time, and then a couple years ago got back into it.
Is it cool if we follow that for a second? Because I've got some questions. I know there's probably some other people too. I hope you guys don't think I'm trying to monopolize this or anything. While you're on the subject, the free racing for girls and things like that, with being a girl in this hobby, do you get any kind of static from people, or do people kind of not give you the credibility that you deserve? Because clearly you go back a ways now with, your knowledge and experience with RC. And is it one of those things where like guys talk to you a little more simply? You know how it can be like the weird, like, don't really know how to interact with somebody's,
how much do you actually know about
right?
The hobby?
Like, do you experience stuff like that at all, or are people pretty much like talk to you like we're doing, like you're just one of the guys?
I don't know. I mean, when I first meet people and I have my RCs out and stuff, they always assume it's my boyfriend's, and they'll start talking to him. He's like, I don't know any about this. Like, go talk to her.
No way. That's great.
So then people, once they start talking to me and kind of hear about my knowledge, I guess, or. But also, I don't know everything, and I'm learning. I have a huge, not a huge following, but like a following where there's a community that I can learn from. And so I think on YouTube, I try to approach it like I don't know everything. I mean, if I don't know something, I try to like mention that I don't know something, and I solicit input from the community, and there's a ton of knowledge out there. So I think that's one way to build your credibility. And two, we were talking about sponsorships a little bit before this, before we went live, and I think I'm still learning about what doing a team driver looks like, and how do you represent a brand and a company that you have confidence in without alienating people and thinking you're just like for one company or another. So right. Yeah, I'm still learning about the hobby too, and there's been a ton of innovation since my team associated B3 back in the day. New technology out there that I'm learning about, new crawlers, and so it's been a fun journey for sure.
That's cool.
I would say you two are really showing my age with this one. That's why I know none of this. This is like way before I was even a thought. So
yeah, I haven't been in it that long. But 2010, I think.
I'll be honest. The first RC car I ever physically saw would actually be my dad had a Tamiya Frog, and would have to be the first RC car I ever saw. And I don't know when he bought that thing.
Is it the Grasshopper, or did they make a Frog?
I thought it was the Frog. Wasn't it the Frog? It was like the one that looks like your traditional sandrail dune buggy kind of looking thing.
I'll have to look it up.
Was it Kyosho or something?
No, it was Tamiya.
Oh, Tamiya, okay. Yeah, they do have weird names for stuff. Maybe it was a Frog.
Yeah, I'm almost positive it was the Frog.
But... Oh yeah, there is a Frog. Huh, interesting.
Yeah, so he, like I said, he had that, and we used to play with it out in the street, and then, and then I actually stumbled into this because I come from the actual one-to-one background, and then that's, we've gone over this in prior episodes. That's how I kind of got into it, was in between trying to find videos for one-to-one stuff, I stumbled across a RC one, and I said, that's cool, and it probably won't cost me as much when I break.
Exactly.
And that's where it all started.
That's funny. Well, actually, I would say some parts are just as expensive as the real thing, because someone commented on my channel once, like, I was looking for like a roof rack for my one-to-one Jeep, and I was looking online, and something was about the same price, or it was a little bit cheaper, and then it was for an RC 1/10 scale, and it was about the same price of an actual legit roof rack for your one-to-one.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Well, Jay, didn't you have that issue one time?
Oh, I continue to have it. Okay, so we it's so crazy. So we started doing graphics for the Yeti Junior to just...
Oh, I saw those. Those are pretty cool.
Yeah, just like a real simple kit to just change the color on it if you don't like the red and gold. And so we probably sell one of those a day. And the first week that they went live, I had to do 3 refunds because there was actually 3 people out there that thought they could get new graphics for their Can-Am for $14.99. I'm like, wow, you didn't know? Like, if there wasn't a toy in the picture, like, how do you not? I think they just see the price and jump at it without really thinking things through, so.
Well, unfortunately, that's actually kind of happened to me in both ways. Michelle's got a Jeep, like a real Jeep, and I've been looking at Poison Spider bumpers, and you really have to, like, be very clear when you're looking at those, because you'll come across an RC one, and you're just like, come on, I'm looking for a real one now. I'm not actually looking for an RC one. So can we separate this somehow? So, yeah.
That's funny.
It's kind of a cool problem to have if you think about it, though. Like, it's saying something about the hobby, I think, if, stuff looks so real that you're actually, like, fooling people online. Like, that's actually a really
for sure.
cool thing, and one of the many things that makes this so much fun.
I feel like that's every scaler's goal, is to have a rig that you can't tell the difference between... Is it real or is it scale?
Oh, yeah.
Did you start doing the picture thing when you started crawling? Like, did you just, like, catch yourself, like, taking pictures of it? Like, I thought it was just the goofiest thing ever, and then one day I'm out, and I'm, like, on the ground taking all these little scale pictures at ground level and stuff, and, like, into it, and I'm like, man, I am absolutely the guy that I was making fun of 6 months ago. Like, this is so terrible.
No, I used to be embarrassed about it, and now I just go with it.
I'm still kind of a little bit embarrassed sometimes, but most of the time it's like, you get a good reaction from people that are out hiking or whatever, but yeah, it's still a little embarrassing, and
Have you
Kinda,
guys seen the meme where it's like a guy taking a picture? It's like most people my age, and it's a guy taking a picture on the ground of his baby, and then he's like, actually
Yep.
me, and it's like his rig taking a picture of it.
yep,
Hmm.
it's so accurate too. It's
Uh,
so funny.
Well, the thing I find that's pretty funny is we get the common question we get all the time when we're on the trail, like because we'll go to Mount Diablo or we'll even be on a hiking trail up in the Sierras, and people come by with their family and they think it's the coolest thing in the world, and they go, "Oh, how much is that?" And you're like,
don't
uh,
ask.
you're like, yeah, you're like,
Yeah.
you're like, you don't know how to answer that question because you're like, because if base price, you're looking at a couple $100, but when I got into it, you're probably looking at close to like 600 to 800, and they're like, "Are you serious?" And you're like, "Yeah." um,
Yeah, you
some of
have to
the
justify.
Yep.
so I think they see it and they're thinking, "Oh, it's a Radio Shack car that you glued a bunch of stuff onto," and it's like, no, 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 no. These are hobby grade, not toy grade. So, yeah, pretty funny. Um, what else? I know you touched on this earlier about the Sorka rules, and this is another thing we could put up on our Facebook page for anybody looking for it. I know you were interested to kind of hear the different, classes, the ins and outs, and whatnot. And when we were getting set up, I pulled up the 2019 rules. It's a PDF. It's actually on the Sorka website. Um, there's basically, from what I see, just really the three classes. I know there's a lot of people that modify the classes and they won't really call it a Sorka class, and that's kind of how they run their thing. And you'll see it on some events. It's like some people will say, "Oh, we're running a Sorka-based point system," or "We're running this," and that's kind of where they pull their, points from. But Class 1 would be what they call their street. There's no external tire modifications is basically the big one. Class 2 is what they call their trail. Tire lugs can be removed, siped, grooved, and or trimmed. And they're basically, I guess, a lot of it's based around tires. And then there's Class 3, which is the modified, whereas you can have tire modifications, and I guess almost anything's a go as long as the tire is no larger than 5.75 inches in diameter and measured off the vehicle laying on its side. I don't
And then
understand what it means, but
what's the G8 class? Is that a kind of a newer?
that's something I think G8 must be a hybrid off of something, because there's nothing on their website about a G8. There's just the Class 1, Class 2, and Class 3. And that's really about it. And then it goes into the points, how different points equal out. So if one of our listeners is trying to build a class rig, this will be your kind of like guide on how to build your rig accordingly. But yeah, I don't see anything on here about a G8.
So say like a class 1 rig, they limit your inner diameter and outer diameter tire. Is that true?
Yeah,
And then
the
so
outer,
what would like a stock SCX tend to
Probably a Class
fall in?
2,
Okay, class 2.
because
Yeah,
it's a
bigger than
it's a
419.
and it's a trail. It's more of like a trail based rig. Let's see.
And then a bomber would be a class 3.
Right, yeah, with two
Right.
twos and stuff. Yeah.
Hmm.
And you can have like rear steer and dig and some pretty crazy things in Class 3, but for the most part, like the biggest difference in Class 1 and 2 is just the tire diameters restricted in Class 1 to the 4.19, and then from there it's, Class 2, they all have to be a 1.9 wheel or smaller, and I think the tire diameter stops at 5 inches or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I asked because at part of Axial Fest, I want to maybe enter my first competition with my rigs, and I was thinking about the 5K and maybe one of the Class 2 competitions. So, yeah, I'll definitely check out the Sorka rules. But a question for you guys, like, what would you say a competition day? How would you get your rigs ready for the competition, like day of or prep before? What would you suggest someone do?
Bolt check. Just go around and make sure all your screws are tight. That's probably the biggest thing. I'm a neat freak, so I clean everything, and like when I'm cleaning, I take that opportunity to like look for stuff that might be broken or worn out. A lot of guys don't clean their scalers, but it's like a racing habit with me, and so I like go through them and make sure everything's okay so that I don't have any issues on comp day. But really, I mean, a lot of this stuff you just show up and drive, and even if you're new, if it's a pretty, you know, like cool club and they're accommodating, they'll usually help you figure out what class to, you know, that you would be best suited for if you have any questions like that. I mean, usually people are pretty cool and they, you know, will kind of point you in the right direction and help you out.
Sweet. Do they have limits on like 2S or 3S lipos or electronics and stuff? It's just
they don't want you to be able to see them, and that's it. You
Crazy.
can't like see them. You know, they want stuff hidden, but that's really about it.
Yeah, and then I know that there are some places. I know Axial Fest doesn't do it, but I have heard of some. Or actually, do they do? You know what? I'm gonna have to retract that statement. Then the rock racing, they may actually have a battery. I think I don't know if they want you to have a hard pack or if a soft pack's okay. I really don't know. Some places they won't let you race with a soft pack. You have to have a hard pack. It doesn't matter if it's 3S or 2S, but you have to have.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, mainly because, as everybody knows, or if you don't know, the Lipo batteries, they have tendencies to, you know, they get nicked or smashed or cut open. They self-ignite. So that's kind of why they want you to have a hard pack. It kind of protects the cells and protects the battery so that doesn't happen.
Have you guys had any lipo disasters?
I've never had a lipo disaster.
Thankfully not. We had an ESC catch fire racing once, and I'm not sure if it was the battery that did it or the ESC, but I mean, it was 100 years ago when it happened, and we've never had any kind of weird failures like that since. I mean, I'm super paranoid about them, you know. I mean, they're like in an ammo box by the door, so I can like throw it outside if something happens. But like, I'm scared to death of them. But they, you know, I've had good luck so far.
Yeah, it just being like proper care and maintenance and handling, I guess, is just key. And you know, I got some batteries that are pretty poofy, but nothing that I'd be scared to run in my car.
Yeah, I had one disaster where I was charging it at the wrong rate, and I don't know, I didn't have the balance port plugged in, and I was like, I think I was storage charging it, and I was charging it way too fast, and I heard like a tss, and then like I was like, what was that? And then I heard another one, and then like I ran into the room, the lipo was starting to like puff up, and I just grabbed it and tossed it out the window.
Oh my god.
Wow.
That was nothing. It didn't light on fire or anything, but it was like my closest one to where something was about to happen.
After that, you started respecting them a lot.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, you always think like, oh, it won't happen to me, but it's like, it's scary.
I know. I've been wanting to do a lipo safety video, but that kind of means that I have to like puncture one, and I don't know. I don't have like the right fire equipment to handle that.
I don't think you necessarily have to puncture one. I mean, you could do a safety one and just talk about it, and it's possible to maybe insert some clips or photos of what could happen.
That's true.
Because I mean, I don't know. I've been at events where people's batteries have caught fire, or I've seen people deliberately try to get them to catch on fire, which I never think is a smart idea. And we've also been at events where people have a really bad battery, and I've seen them throw them into campfires. So yeah, that
sounds real safe.
Yeah, there's I've seen a lot of mishandling.
You know Dan Wilson from VP, you know Dan, don't you? With crazy beard.
Oh,
a Lipo Fire is actually how we met, and that's how our friendship is founded, was on a Lipo Fire. So,
really?
Yeah, at Axial Fest. It was kind of funny.
Good times.
Was it Dan's battery caught on fire, or was it your battery caught on fire?
No, it was Dan's. We were standing at the Proline booth because it was like right next to the SOR one, and so I was there talking to him, and he's talking to them, and all of a sudden the thing catches on fire, and he's like, oh, just let it burn, you're not going to be able to put it out. So he just kind of threw it on the ground and kicked some dirt on it and watched it for a little bit, and that was about all you could do. So that's actually the scary thing about those batteries. There's not really all you can do other than just let it do its thing, because I mean, it's a chemical reaction, so unless you have like a chemical firefighter, one that's fire extinguisher that's
rated to put out chemical fires, I don't think there's much you could do to it.
Yeah, actually, I think they sell them. Someone told me they sell them on Amazon for pretty cheap, but I've been meaning to pick one up. But yeah, I would suggest if anyone's looking for one, check out Amazon. They have the ones that are rated for Lipo batteries.
Oh, nice. I didn't even know that.
I think tossing sand on it too is another potential method to, I think,
I've seen that too.
It out.
That's probably pretty common, or not common. That's probably a good practice, just basically because I deal with construction and some of the stuff like installing gas fireplaces. A lot of the stuff's insulated with sand because sand doesn't really burn. So I think that's probably where that comes from. So it's a safe media that won't catch on fire. Like, you put, obviously it goes near sticks and brush, it's going to, be like a tinder box. But sand and probably, dirt, both of those don't really burn. So smothering it would be the best.
I think you absolutely should do a video on lipo safety, just because I think it's one of those things that you can't hammer into people's heads enough, because everybody's like has that mindset, like, oh, it's not going to happen to me or whatever. And like, I've had friends that we race with that like had massive fires in their garages and lost thousands of dollars worth of stuff. So
dang,
it's
that's crazy.
You could probably do one a month on lipo safety and it wouldn't be enough. I mean,
public service announcement.
Exactly. Yeah.
Respect your lipos.
For sure. And if you ever travel to something too, that would be another really good one to bring up to your viewers and stuff. Would be, how do you travel on airlines or whatnot with lipo batteries? So I mean, there's a lot of people that probably want to know that. So
yeah, there was a whole thread on one of the forums on Facebook about people coming to Proline by the Fire and can you travel with lipos, and someone said no, you can't, and then a bunch of people said yeah, you can, and supposedly there are rules and regulations, but I think you can just use them on a carry-on, which is very bizarre. I'm surprised. I wouldn't go. Yeah, don't go with my rules. Look up the regulations, but you can travel with them on an airplane. Just look up, what your airline says, and I think you have to, have them in your bags that you carry on, which is very surprising. But
yeah, that's really strange. But no, that's good information for people, because I mean, yeah, I would have no idea.
Yeah, that would have been a good question for like somebody like Matt Kent from Scale Builders Guild. He's always travels to events, so how does he get lipos out?
Yeah, he would be a good person to ask. Flying thousands of miles to everything that he goes to, being way up in Canada.
Yeah, I heard he showed up at Proline by the Fire with James Knight, and I was like, did he show up in his Jeep? Because I know he just got a new Jeep, 1-to-1 scale Jeep or whatever. But yeah, I guess he flew in from Canada.
No, yeah, he flew in because he actually, because I'm sure you're following this, that mayhem thing that they were doing, him and
the monthly mayhem, yeah.
Mm-hmm. He actually he shipped his out first, and I was giving him a hard time because I said, I don't know why you're shipping your rig to the competition, because he's gonna mess with it before you even get to use it. So why didn't you ship it out to a non-biased affiliate that could actually bring it and just you get to use it. So that was pretty funny. But yeah, what else was some of the topics we wanted to bring up? I'm drawing a blank now.
We got through all the questions, right?
We got through all the questions. The last one, if you want to answer it, is basically your favorite hobby shop, and this could be local, online. If you have one. Some people don't. But that was the final question.
Yeah, I mean, I can give a shout out to the local hobby shop. I mean, the hobby shops in Santa Cruz all closed down, unfortunately. But there's a couple in San Jose, and NorCal Hobbies is one of the ones that I go to, and they have an indoor track. I think it's mostly like for the racers. But yeah, indoor track. They do some outdoors, I think on-road stuff too. But we were talking about this too. JJ Customs, he has a new hobby shop in San Jose, and all his rigs are unboxed. You can go check them out in person, touch them, feel them. I've been wanting to go. I think he just recently opened up a few months ago, and I've been meaning to get out there, so definitely want to check that out for sure.
Oh yeah, JJ Customs is a really interesting shop because I guess you could say he's like not an orthodox shop because a lot of shops, yeah, they'll have like one or two rigs out on like display so you can look at them. He literally has like every rig that he's selling is not in the box. So if you purchase it, he either grabs you a brand new one, or if that's the last one, he just lets you know, hey, that's the last one. And he's pretty cool about it. He gives you like a little bit of a break and
Floor model.
puts it back in the box and says, here you go.
That's
So
sweet.
yeah,
That's actually a really cool idea.
Jason's an awesome dude. And they also just did he's got a little like crawler course in the center of the shop.
I saw that.
So I've yet to check that out. That was put up after I was there last. So
yeah, I saw a couple videos. I think it was like the Highway 1 RC guys and Fog City RC. They did some videos there, and so I definitely need to check it out for sure.
So, and with that, now we've gotten all the questions out of the way.
Nice. So, what do we? Let's talk about news. We've got a lot of stuff in the last week that has happened here. It has been like a whirlwind of new parts and vehicles and stuff. So
Proline by the Fire, a ton of new releases. Exciting.
Yeah, that was kind of the place to be if you wanted to see anything new. We know that they had the Enduro, and then there's that. It sure looks like a prototype to me because of the vacuum formed bed on it, but it looks like there's a 6x6 in the works with axial possibly.
Yeah, I saw
that too.
It was funny because my buddy Todd got a hold of me and was like, yes, did you see somebody made their own Unimog into a 6x6? I said, how did they do that cab? I said, it's a 4-door cab. And he's like, I thought it was the 2-door. And I said, nope, that was a 4-door cab with a bed that actually went around the shock hoop, so you didn't see it. And the interesting thing about it is that body was painted very, like, I guess weird would be a good way to use it, or interesting, because like the sides had some paint on it, but like the bed was still clear, so you could like see through it. So it's almost like they intentionally left certain areas clear so you could see highlights or something. Like it was, I don't know. I found it a little weird, but that was just me.
I'm glad you said that because the first word I was going to say was crude when it was a paint job, and what you said's a lot nicer. So.
Well, I'm trying to be optimistic about it. I mean, yeah, I wouldn't paint one of my rigs like that, but what else? And then Element RC, I guess you could say it's a new. I wouldn't say it's a new brand, or I guess it is a new brand under Team Associated. Team Associated is well established in the RC industry, but this is their first attempt at a crawler. So into the scale crawler spectrum, which is actually, a pretty good, I guess, project to, throw into the ring, because they actually did their homework. They've been listening to a lot of, the people in the, community, that what they want, what they're looking for. So they gave a lot of thought into their first project, which actually, if you want to be, like I said, optimistic about it, that could be a good or a bad thing, because now if your next one comes out and you didn't put as much thought as you put into your first one, did you drop the ball?
Yeah, the way they refine their race cars, though, I don't think that's something that we're going to see either. Because they're a bright group of guys, and Brad Geck, who's kind of like their crawler dude, in addition to Schultz, like that dude put a lot of time and effort into what they were doing, and they actually accomplished a lot in a short amount of time, really, when you think about it. So it's pretty cool. So yeah, I mean, if you haven't heard about the Element on Facebook, you've probably been living under a rock, because like my entire feed has been Element RC stuff. Everywhere.
Yeah.
And then SSD's coming out with a rig, which looks really promising.
That one's got my attention. That's one that I want to see, because I think what they're doing is they're actually offering, from what I've seen in some of the sneak peek pictures, they're actually offering their, I guess, divorce transfer case that goes to their scale transmission. So I think that's going to be in the kit or roller, because there's still speculations whether or not that's going to be a builder's kit or a roller.
I have a feeling they're going to go the builder's kit route. Like, I can't really say a whole lot other than what I've seen, but I think they're, from what I understand, they're going the chassis route, like a kit, and it's got a offset pumpkin in the front axle, like the VP VS410, which is a really cool idea. A lot of it looks to be axial based, like the shock hoops look like they're using their aluminum version of the axial hoops. What else did I see besides that transmission? I have a feeling it's going to come with that trans and the force transfer case.
Oh yeah, no, I think so too, because that's a way also for them to showcase that, because I don't know how many people are aware of that setup.
Yeah, and I think that we're going to see actually some other really cool things on it too that people haven't seen before, that they're not expecting. So I think that's going to be a pretty incredible rig. And then VP's got a chassis kit now to where you can buy their chassis, and I want to say it's like chassis servo mount, all the chassis braces, shock hoops, skid, and basically use that on your axial car. So they're actually offering their chassis and frame as a hop up. So, and it's actually really reasonably priced. I know there was a lot of people like, how much is it going to be? $800, you know, and it ended up being like, you know, $109, I think is what James had said. So super affordable. So I think that's going to be a huge winner for them. But yeah, I mean, it's just all of a sudden, just everybody's come out with just all kinds of crazy stuff.
And another one that came out, and I know this got a lot of flack, Axial has the 1/24th scale deadbolt, which either you liked it or you hated it. I think it's cool because it gives options to other people, because I think what people, you know, lose sight of is not everybody runs 1/10th scale crawlers. There's people that are into the mini stuff, and you know, and the number one thing that I saw from this was a lot of people that really liked the 1/24th scale is the fact that there's a lot of model cars in the 1/24th scale, so you could actually turn a model into a 1/24th scale crawler if you wanted to. So
That's
I thought
cool.
that's what I thought. I thought that was pretty cool.
And really, with something like that, like, I mean, Horizon, and this kind of leads into our next thing we were talking about. I mean, like, Horizon took an awful beating over that. And, I mean, really about the best thing I can say in regards to that is, like, if you don't like it, it wasn't made for you. You know, like, that car wasn't made for you. Everything that they put out doesn't have to be for you. I mean, like, people don't get mad when Losi releases a new monster truck and go, oh, I wanted a new race car. This is BS. You know, it's like, that isn't really how it works. You know, it's not everything is for you guys. So it's a cool
it's a different
thing.
market for sure.
Yeah, and something small like that, a kid can throw it in his backpack. He can take it on the bus with him, with it being kind of hidden. There's a lot of people geographically that don't have access to the stuff that the three of us, you know, fortunately have. I mean, you know, there's a kid somewhere in New York City that lives in an apartment building that wants a scale crawler super bad, and there's nowhere to go, you know. So, I mean, a little mini one like that he can make a course in his living room, or, you know, figure out a way to enjoy the hobby that way, then that's awesome, you know, more power to him. And I think that people that are upset by that, for one, it's silly, but two, it's I mean, it's opening up the hobby to even more people. And if they buy the little one, it's kind of like a gateway drug, you know. They're going to be like, oh man, this thing's rad, I want, you know, one of the big ones now. And so, I mean, I think it was a really smart move on their part. And I don't know, everybody has an opinion, but it just they have taken such an awful beating over it, and it just really isn't
there's a lot of competition out there. I mean, there's just a lot of cool crawler kits coming out, and I mean, I work with Horizon Hobby. I'm a brand ambassador, but they say, like, most of their consumers are kids or, like, you know, backyard hobbyists. Not every, you know, we're so focused on one part of the hobby, like competitive crawling, and, you know, people that track the hobby and know where everything's going and the next and latest thing. But most of the people that buy RCs are, you know, people that want it for their son or daughter or their kids, or I think that's a large part of it, and I think they're trying to tap into that. But I mean, they can't also, I think, parallel with that, they need to be able to push the hobby too, and you know, be in line with these new innovative kits that are coming out too. So hopefully, you know, they'll have these new, you know, kits for the a different audience, but also come out with the latest and greatest as well.
And then my only thing on
hope.
some of the negativity is, I think what actually happens is it also stems into, and I know this isn't a political podcast, so I'm not going to make it anything more than what I'm saying, but I think it's what's going on with the world. Everybody thinks they have the right to, which they do, to their own opinion, but they think they can voice it, and I think a lot of them are just reaching to just say something because they feel, oh, I want to say something. Where it's like, just what happened to the days where, if that wasn't for you, then, you don't need to get on your soapbox and pound your chest. You can just,
quietly move along, It's like everybody wants to be, internet famous. And, I know, like, with you and I, that's not something that we are even remotely interested even by doing this podcast. We do it because we like it, whether there's 6 listeners or 60. It's something that's enjoyable. And, I don't really get where people are coming from when they start, everybody wants to feel important. They want to feel like they matter, and they want to, make their voice heard so that it's a confidence booster. And I think a lot of these people that give others a hard time online, and these manufacturers and stuff, I mean, some of it's, the comments are made out of ignorance. I think a lot of people don't realize how small this segment really is. I mean, you see a lot of guys like, oh, I want, how come they don't release a Sorka rig that's like fully pointed out when you buy it? Or when's Axial going to come out with a hard body? Like, how many times have you seen that question online in the comments and stuff? Like, that's great, but I wish it came with a hard body. It's like, dude, not many people want hard bodies. Like, honestly, like, they don't perform that great. They're super expensive. They break a lot easier than Lexan. I mean, the demographic that wants a hard body crawler like RTR or kit is so small that it's not even worth their time dealing with, and there's plenty of aftermarket to take care of that. So like I said, I mean, I don't say like ignorance is a mean thing. It's just that I feel like there's a lot of people that are ignorant to the actual, scale of what it is that's going on and who these rigs are actually targeted for.
Well, it's also almost like the other thing too. It's almost like nothing's, and then you start, I guess, painting that picture that nothing's ever going to be good enough, because it's like, even if they checked all these boxes that you complained about on the last rig, they're going to find something to complain about on that one. So it's like, when does it stop? And we want to grow this hobby, and we want it to be positive, and we want to get people in it. And there was a couple posts this past weekend that were super negative, that were taken out of context, in my opinion, on purpose to stir the pot, instead of being positive about what's going on in the community right now and what's coming out. And if you're gonna be so harsh and negative about something, what do you think the average person that's wanting to get into this hobby, how do you think they're going to take that? They might be like, oh my gosh, look at all this drama, I'm not even going to get involved. And then you just lost a whole nother person that could be enjoying what we get to do.
Dude, you're absolutely right. Like, I mean, yeah, that sums it up perfectly. If you go and you piss everybody off, there's not going to be much left when you're done. I mean, that's just how it is. I mean, Axial and Horizon, they get beat up so bad after, and this isn't me, I'm not affiliated with anybody, so I get to, as far as chassis go, so I mean, I get to kind of just speak freely about that. But when they released the 124th, there's people going, how about a new SCX10? This is BS. This is a toy. It's a kid's toy. I don't want that. It's like, man, what do you want? Like, they just released the UMG10, which by far is the most detailed kit that they've ever released. We got not one, but 2 choices for the 1.9 Wraith. That's another thing that, I mean, clearly they were listening to the public when they released the 1.9 Wraith, And it's like, my God, what more do you guys want? Like, we can't win.
Well, to be honest, I think what it comes down to, especially with Horizon and Axial, is I think it's kind of like that mentality, kick someone while they're down. A lot of people know what's gone on with Axial. They had the whole merger with Hobbyco, then Hobbyco went under, and then, so they were on the market. I mean, that's really when the bashing started, was because I think people knew that it was going to go downhill, or, have a hard time treading water. So instead of being positive about it and still supporting it, and whether or not you like the brand or not, still be somebody who's giving a positive, impact to, keep the hobby going instead of, bringing it down. And I think they just want to see something fall so they can go, haha, see, they went down. Because it's, you see it in everything.
But everybody loses then,
Yeah,
and that's why I don't understand. Why is that hard to see? It's like we all lose out if somebody fails. It's like
Yeah, I mean, I see it as like Horizon saved all those brands because Hobbyco went under, and then Horizon acquired all these like Arma, Losi, Axial, like all these brands wouldn't be around today if it wasn't for Horizon. So I think a lot of I think we have a lot to see from Axial in the coming year once Horizon figures out all their brands and what they want to keep, what's going. I think we have a lot to see from Axial in the coming years. So,
and they do have a lot. I mean, not a lot. I shouldn't say that, but they have several of this, of their OG employees there still too. You still got Scott, as far as I know. You got Randall. I think Matt's still there. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure who their graphics guy is or not, but I believe he's still there. But I mean, you're hurting them and the possibility of them. If Axial tanks, there may not be a place at Horizon for a Randall or somebody. And look what just happened. So I mean, it's just everybody loses when you're negative and you're harping on these guys like that. And I think it'll get to a point, especially with Axial Fest, and I hope it doesn't happen, but I think that if it keeps up, people are going to be like, all right, enough is enough, mm-hmm. But nobody appreciates the effort we're putting in. I mean, this is going to make me super unpopular to say, and I've been thinking about how I wanted to say this. No, and it's not bad, but honestly, and this could be purely coincidence, so let's, I'll kind of cushion what I'm going to say with that. I kind of feel like we're getting the best product out of Axial since the Horizon buyout, because I'm seeing a lot of details that they were just starting to kind of inch towards. Like with the 27JK, they stepped it up and have metal links. They did the locking lower shock cup, the spring cups that you can put the screw in so you don't lose your shock cup. The new 1.9 Wraith is crazy. I drove it last night. Not only is it good, and it's something that people have been building and wanting for years and years, but little details. Like, we never got molded grills and clear headlight lenses that aren't part of the body. We never got those things before. And like with the Wraith, they actually back the thing in silver paint so that when you scratch it, it looks like you've scratched through the paint and there's bare aluminum paneling underneath. I mean, that kind of like thought shows that somebody is like caring about the product that they're putting out. They're trying to find cool little neat innovations, and that's not even something they advertised. And before I had said, look, they did this on purpose, I wanted to double check my facts, and so I asked Randall, I was like, hey, did you guys do this on purpose? And he's like, yeah, and kind of like did a little LOL thing. I was like, man, that's absolutely brilliant. Like, that's cool, and it shows that they still care about the hobby. They're not just sitting around coasting or anything like that. We're getting better product. I mean, I noticed on the UMG 10, like, there was actually some plastic pieces that certain parts trees in there that felt like it's actually made out of like a different material that's actually a little bit stiffer and better. Like, I really do feel that we're getting the best that we've had to date from Axial, and if this is any kind of indicator the direction that they're going, then that's great. I mean, I think the first SCX-10 kit I got, I paid $400 for at the local hobby shop, and the UMG 10 retails for $100 less. So it's not like they're out to gouge anybody or do any of this. We're getting some really solid, cool stuff out of these guys. So, I mean, give them a break, because there are people there. It's not, just plain corporation that's nameless and faceless, automatons that work there. It's, real people with jobs and families, and you're kind of screwing with their livelihood a little bit, and that's not really okay. I mean, they clearly care about what they're doing, so cut them some slack, everybody.
It's not just that. It also comes down to the fact that it's like, and I've always been a firm believer of this, if you truly think you can do something better than they're doing it, why don't you go apply for the job and take over and fix it?
Yeah, no, exactly. And I could sit here and bash on Axial, because there was some issues in the past where they didn't fulfill their commitments, with like other employees that were there and it ended up leaving and stuff, and it created some issues here and some hard feelings. And if anybody has a reason to like say anything negative. I certainly could if I wanted to, but I don't. It doesn't fix anything. You're not moving forward. It doesn't solve anything. And more importantly, being mad and upset and bitching about stuff, it's not fun. Like, why are you guys spending your time online just
Because then you have,
being
see,
jerks to
that's the
everybody?
problem. Then you have too much time. You're online worrying about that instead of taking your car outside and enjoying your car.
Yes, drive your goddamn car. Get off your phone. It's so bad.
So,
Yeah,
yep.
I mean, on the flip side, I think competition pushes the hobby into a cool place, like innovation. That's exciting too. So I think
Oh,
it's
for
good to have a
sure.
steady competition and keep people on their toes. What's the next latest and greatest? But
Yeah, there's some great choices out there and stuff that you never really see, like Cross, for example. I have a buddy that bought a Cross Demon, and that thing was phenomenal looking. I mean, it was built really well. Like, there's a lot of options, and that whole thing with the video, which, by the way, whoever did that, just shame on you. Like that was terrible. Don't do
Yeah,
stuff like that.
we're not gonna put it out there who reposts it,
No, no,
but
exactly. It's just I'm very much voicing my disapproval of that, and
and
it's
I 110% am with you on that one because that's not what you want to see. You don't want to see a video or content from anybody taking out of content or context, especially if you were or were not there and like you weren't present when it was going on, because you don't know. You're totally just taking something that happened, you're putting your spin on it, and you're trying to bait a negative response, which in the end is hurting the community in more ways than one. So, you
and the
know,
smart people that call you out on it, you look foolish to them.
yep.
Like you really do. Like you did nothing for yourself and your reputation or anything like that by doing something like that. There's absolutely nothing to be gained. And there's people that work at these places that used to work together or never have worked together, and they keep some of the same social circles because they are in the same industry and they're
Hmm.
friends. And a lot of these places, it's not this us versus them mentality. It's like, hey, what are these guys up to? And like, I mean, it goes as far as like even some manufacturers know what the other manufacturers have in the pipeline because they have kind of like an open dialogue, amongst friends and whatnot. And it's not this like evil competitive us versus them thing. We all get a better product out of this. So why start that drama when that kit that Associated just released, maybe the next best thing we see from Axial is going to step it up even more, and it'll have overdrive options and whatever else people are asking for because they clearly are listening. And
Hmm.
so is Associated because that has a lot of features that people want and have asked for in rigs. So really, I mean, it's like this is all very good for us. There is no us versus them. There is no, this brand is better than that brand. A lot of it's, experience and personal preference and customer service, and just this exactly what Haley said. Competition breeds a better product,
Well, I
and
mean, look at anything you look at. I mean, look at sports. There's always I'm always for friendly competition because I mean, in sports, like I could give Jay a bunch of crap all the time because he's in Seahawks territory and I'm in Niner territory, but it's all tongue in cheek. At the end of the day, we're still friends, we're still buddies, we're still gonna talk. We're not gonna like ruin a friendship over this. I mean, some of the stuff that like these people are saying and doing is like, you could like potentially not talk to someone for a very long time, with some of the, unnecessary things being said. And I know we're going on and on about this. We could probably take it on to something else, but
no,
yeah.
it's important though. It really is. It's a very important thing to discuss because it's a huge problem. And the thing is, it's impacting everybody's fun. And these people that give people a hard time online and whatnot, like it's just nobody should be having the fun removed from their situation in
Hmm.
this hobby. Like everybody's entitled to the same type of enjoyment no matter what their decisions are, no matter what they want to make their car look like. There is no right or wrong. And I think Matt Kett said it the best. I This was probably a year ago, but we were talking, and at the time I was talking to him about Axial because I felt like a really like deep loyalty because of the way they had gone out of their way to accommodate us at the first two Axial Fests that we went to, and they were great to work with, and it was a great experience. And it kind of created this situation where I felt like if I drove another brand of car, I was like cheating on a girlfriend or something. Like, it was terrible, so I was really loyal to Axial. And Matt, one day when we were speaking, he says, I don't think you can be a true enthusiast in this hobby unless you do experience some other brands and some different things outside of the norm, because then you're getting the whole experience. There's certain things that are going to be more fun than others. Like, for example, like having a really like set up comp truck versus like that UMG 10. I had to learn how to drive that thing completely differently than I've driven any of my other cars because of the weight and everything on it. And that's a cool experience, and it grows you as far as like your not just mechanical understanding of how different brands are put together. I mean, because you'll start to see like, oh, a light bulb will come on and you're like, oh, I get how they engineered it this way, and it's different than this other brand how they've done it. And it can help you grow knowledge wise in the hobby, not just being able to have fun with a lot of cool different things. And I think that's something that's really important, is you do need to experience a lot of stuff just like anything else in life, because then you can actually create a formed opinion about what you actually like and don't like. Just because you hop on Facebook and some dude who's like bros with whoever at Pitbull's like, oh, you need these tires and that's all you should have, they're the best tire. It's like there's so much bad information on Facebook with stuff like that, and so you need to take it upon yourself and try these different things and get your own experiences before you can really have any kind of a valid opinion, especially if it's something you're going to be vocal about online.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, it goes back to your credibility, and that's something that I try to balance on my channel, is like, how do you represent a brand and be an ambassador, but also, people don't think you're just a walking ad for that company. Like, you need to know what else is out there and what the competition looks like, and try out different things. And with my channel, I'm trying to like expose people to lots of different types of things, and so it's a little bit of a learning for me. Like, can I be a team driver? Can I be a brand ambassador? Like, what does that mean for working with one company or another, or people's competitors and stuff? So I think it's a balancing act, but I'm hoping that I can expose people to lots of different types of cool products, and hopefully that increases your credibility in the industry if you know a little bit about lots of different types of brands out there.
And you've branded yourself really well too. I mean, like with your logo, and you're very well spoken, and you don't stumble over your words like I do.
I feel like I do.
No, I mean, no.
Good editing,
No, you do great, obviously. I mean, with no editing with this recording, but yeah, I mean, what you have there is a very attractive package to different manufacturers and other companies. I know with me, I was like, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I know I'm hard to reach, so I want to like publicly apologize to you. It gets a little hectic here because I do a little bit of everything. My kid does all the technical like hard part stuff, and then I handle shipping, drawing, production. I do all of it, and I'm really hard to reach sometimes. And it's not that I'm trying to make it difficult on people, but it's just I have so many commitments, not just with work, but with other areas of RC, with like racing and sponsorships and this podcast and volunteering at different tracks and having our club that I host events for, being the president of our club and whatnot. So I mean, I'm pulled a lot of different directions, but immediately, like, it wasn't even a second thought. And also I had seen that James Knight had kicked you down some stuff too, so I was like, James is an excellent judge of character, so immediately it was just kind of a no-brainer for me to send stuff to you, for you to try out. I wish I would have had more, because like actually we've got like more stuff than when I had mailed that out that has come up that's new. So I would like, I'll send another package your way. But no, I mean, from a business standpoint, with how you approached us and how you're handling everything, you're really doing a fantastic job. And I think that you have a lot of credibility and a lot of reach with what you're doing, because you also aren't like, you don't hack on stuff. There's some YouTube personalities that hack on certain brands and whatnot. No, this is garbage and I wouldn't have done it this way, and this is awful, and and you don't do that. You offer a really informative and kind of your personal opinion of it, and that's coming from an enthusiast, not somebody saying, I want this to be, like, you need to say this is the best thing and all that you use on your cars and whatnot. Like, I think your direction's going really good with all of it, and that people, like I had mentioned, before, they're gonna trust you. They can see, guys like James Knight, if he's participating with you on builds and stuff like that, clearly you're the real deal, and so you're gonna have a lot of kind of clout and credibility to go along with the brand that you've created for yourself because of your presentation. And you're not like a threatening dude, like some, like guys are kind of like, I know more than, yeah, exactly. You're very approachable, and I think that's all stuff that has carried you and will carry you a really long ways. So, I mean, everything that you're doing right now is great. And like we talked about, maybe the team fit won't always be the right thing for you, but you're really headed in the right direction, and it's fun to see. And on top of that, I mean, it's cool to see, a woman actively involved and like into this, and not, like, oh, my boyfriend got me into it, or this is something that we do together, which is, there's nothing wrong with that. That's an awesome situation. But like your history and whatnot, that's cool. Like you're an enthusiast, and people are going to latch onto that. And I think that you're going to have, a really strong following with what you're doing, and it's just going to grow and get better.
Thanks.
A lot of it is because of your demeanor.
Well, yeah, thank you so much. I mean, it's interesting being a woman in this hobby, and there's, I think, as my audience or whatever in quotes, it's like 94% dudes. And I mean, my kind of goal is to increase women's involvement in RC. And I mean, it's a slow road. It's a, big hill to climb, but I think by other women and people's, like, tons of dads have reached out to me like, oh my God, my daughter saw you, and like, she didn't think any guys do it, and it's so cool that like, a woman can do it. And so I think, I mean, that makes me keep going and doing it more. And so, yeah, it's been fun. I mean, there's actually been a really, really positive response to my involvement. And I feel like if anyone says any hate or any negative comments, you'll get like 20 people like bashing them, trying like, what are you saying to her? And so I think there's a huge, strong community behind me, which is super positive. And like, yeah, it's been fun, like trying out different products and seeing, getting deliveries in the mail. I'm always like, oh, sweet. Today I got some like hex extenders, like adapters to like widen the stance of my rig, and I'm just super stoked to like get these things in the mail. So it's just been fun. It's fun, like just RC deliveries, RC mail, like.
Oh yeah.
It's been a really cool, positive response to my involvement in the RC world.
That's great. Yeah, it kills me that anybody would like, give you a hard time over any of this stuff. It's just, I don't know. It's bad when it happens to anybody, but I mean, like, it's cool to hear that you've got kind of like your following of people that kind of come to your defense on stuff like that, and kind of, not that I'm not saying that you need it or anything. I'm sure you could handle it diplomatically, just perfectly on your own, but it's nice to see people care enough to where, they're going to say something.
Yeah, it's been fun. Yeah, it's been a fun journey for sure.
That's awesome. Like, did we kind of touch on everything? Like, are you leaving anything out here? I noticed we're getting close to that hour and a half mark.
The only thing, and I'd probably say this would be the last thing to bring up, and I'm sure we can kind of get through it quickly. Projects that you're working on. I know you touched on some of the projects you're working on your YouTube channel, and if you're following along on Instagram, because I've seen snippets of some of these. What projects do you have on your bench right now?
Yeah, my next build is my road to Axial Fest build. So my SCX 10.2 Cherokee. I know it's been out for a while, but I've been wanting that rig for super, super long. So I have that on my bench next, and obviously got an SOR wrap in the mail this week, and gonna do a video on how to install my first final wrap, which is gonna be kind of cool. I have a Tekin combo motor ESC coming in the mail this week. 2300 kV Rock 412, not 412. RX4. Second time with the RX4. I have one of my Pro MC 4x4 monster truck. But yeah, Tekin combo. I'm excited about censored motor ESC combo. Got my DX5 rugged and SR515 receiver going in that. Also, my Trick RC light kit, got the DG1, and I can use the on-off remote switch, which I'm super excited about. You can turn it on and off, and also toggle through all the brightness settings with the DG1. So you can do like 3 brightness settings with the light bar and rock lights and
those are pretty
light buckets.
Awesome kits. Like I'm not really sure like how they accomplish it, but I have never seen anything that bright.
They're so bright.
And it's off of like receiver voltage. It's not even like this super high voltage going to it.
Yeah.
It's nuts. It's really neat stuff.
Yeah. It's fun. Lighting, I love like lighting up my rigs. Yeah, and then hopefully James Knight, I was going to reach out to him about some 3D printed parts for it. So yeah, that's kind of my next few weeks, I would say, is getting that in order and getting that ready to run.
What tires are you going to use on that one?
I think it's the KO2, the stock tires for now, but I don't know, I might reach out to Proline and see if they can hook me up with some different tires. But for now, I think the stock ones look pretty good. I got some hex adapters on it to like widen the stance a little bit on that one too.
Nice. Yeah,
I think like 15 millimeter offset.
Those they fill the wheel well really well too.
Oh yeah,
it's a nice size on those.
Yeah, so we'll see. I mean, I haven't taken it out on the trails yet, so it's just kind of it's a roller now. I did an unboxing and like a assembly video, and so I'm hoping to do the SOR vinyl wrap install.
Yeah,
install the light kit, all that.
I'll try and get with you in the next couple days prior to you. I put an instruction sheet in there, I believe, but there is a couple tricks. Like, luckily, you're doing one that's not a complete nightmare to do. Like, some of these, I mean, I'll be honest, are not fun to try and put on because, you know, it's like trying to wrap a bowling ball on a piece of paper without any wrinkles. It's hard, you know? So there's some tricks that I'll kind of walk you through, but yeah, I mean, it'll be cake, but it just occurred to me too, like, the nose of that thing, I don't do a decal for the nose because I've always bedlinered that area around the grill and the fender flares because they seem to get beat up the most. So I use a spray on bedliner for that. I couldn't come up with a good way. Freaky Skins did it, and I never looked close enough at theirs, but I never found a way of wrapping the nose of that around the grill to where it was kind of to my liking and wasn't obviously a sticker. So that's something that you're going to come to and probably not, you know, if I hadn't said anything, probably not know what to do there. I got shorted a piece.
Sweet.
But yeah, I'll let you know like the paint and whatnot and give you kind of the ins and outs. So
cool. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, take your time, make sure it's clean. Heat is your friend.
Heat gun.
And
oh yeah.
Heat gun or hair dryer. I use a hair dryer just because it's vinyl. You can melt it pretty quickly with a heat gun. So so I typically, that's why sometimes I'll just use a hair dryer because I don't want to nuke it.
I'm glad you said that because her wrap's matte, and if you do hit that stuff with too much heat, it creates a shiny spot, I noticed. So that's actually super good that you brought that up. Thanks.
Well, it's because a lot of people, I know that, I mean, it's like the saying, there's multiple ways to skin a cat, but, you know, I can only go off of what I've done in the past, and that's pretty much how I do it, is just a hair dryer. You know, take your time, try to line it up. Like if you can find something that you can actually get some sort of like a, you know, straight line reference off of, start working that way, and then just work your way and just smooth it out. You know, pull, you know, if you have to pull on it a little bit, you know, work it into everything. And then once I kind of get everything laid down, I just give it one good quick kind of like heat over everything to kind of like make the adhesive stick, you know, so it doesn't want to lift. And then that's pretty much it.
Set it. You'll have to kind of babysit it a little bit, but you know, be, for the first week, there'll be some corners that might start to peel up, so you just keep an eye on them and reheat it because eventually it remembers its new shape and stays stretched that way. So there's some tricks, but we'll get you through it. It's not bad, especially not the Cherokee. So
the Cherokee.
I was happy when I heard you say that.
At least you're not trying to wrap the new X3.
Yeah.
The little Yeti Junior.
I know there's so many grooves in that.
Oh my god, yeah.
Well, actually, and I don't know if you saw this, Jay. When I did mine, I don't think you intended it. I did it anyways because it just made it easier for me. I put a slit in the one part because I just didn't like how much I had to stretch it to get it to stay in
Yeah.
there. So I figured if you just give a relief cut, it lays down a lot easier.
Yep, yeah, absolutely. If you look at mine, there's little cuts and stuff all over it, and that's something that I mentioned in the instructions too. Just you may have to make a small cut here and there, but I'd rather give people like too much material when they're trying to line that stuff up than not enough, and have it, because then if you're off, 2 millimeters, it'll be off, 4 or 6 at the other end. So if you have a little too much material to trim off, then it makes it a lot less of a precision job, and it's easier on everybody. So I'm just gonna start turning people over to you for instructions, man. You have it down.
Maybe I'll just send you back my body with the wrap, and you guys do it yourself.
Yeah,
Send it back to me.
I do that a lot for people. Like people send stuff
Like
here a
custom
lot
install.
that I paint. Yeah, because and I get it. I mean, they're not comfortable doing it, but I don't mind at all. I do it all the time.
Well, I think what it is it's kind of like an intimidation factor, because trust me, I've done it with like applying even decals, on like my work truck and stuff. You pay a lot of money for some of this stuff, and you want to make sure that it goes on perfectly. So some people get intimidated, and I know it's a smaller scale, so you can't really do it. I mean, I don't know, Jay, correct me if I'm wrong. I know with like when I do my work truck, I can like use the soapy water method, and it's still movable, but I don't think you can really do that with a wrap.
No, it's the problem is that it's the wrap isn't scale in proportion to the body, obviously. So I mean, if you were to do the math, that wrap would be 10 times thicker in real life than it is on the car there, and in reality, you're only using like a 1 or 2 mil vinyl, which is super thin, and so it's just there's some stuff that it's not going to conform to, because it's going to take some work, because it is difficult trying to get it around some of those bends and stuff like that. So
Sweet. Yeah. I use it as a learning experience. Hopefully I can help some newbies learn how to do it too.
And if people are nice, and if they goof them up, like if something happens, I'll send them out like a replacement piece or whatever they need, but like if people are like, this is crap, it doesn't fit, or then it's kind of like, all right, well dude, you're on your own. But if people are cool about it, like I'll absolutely send something out and be like, hey, let's get it looking good. It's not gonna hang you out to dry here with having something halfway done. So
Sweet.
And the other thing too is, as long as the body's clean enough, like when I was doing the Can-Am, because that's the most recent rig that I've wrapped, you can pull it back off. Like if you set it on there and you're like, okay, I don't like that in place right, peel it back off gently and then reset it, and you can actually do that so you get it where you need it. It's once you've really worked it, then it's kind of like where it's going to stay. So like just kind of go lightly and make sure you have it where you want it, and just like I said, time's really everything. The people that whip through it too fast, those are the ones that usually peel quickly, they look crooked, and just like I said, the application is just wrong.
Yeah, take your time with it. And yeah, I forgot where I was going with that. I had something really important to say, and now it's gone. Anyways, we don't need to go over all the wrap stuff and bore everybody. So
is there anything, Haley, you would like to close out with before we end this week's episode?
I think that's it, but thank you for having me on. It was a ton of fun chatting with you guys, and
thanks for
looking
coming
forward
on.
to staying in touch.
Definitely.
Thank you very much. And yeah, in the future, just absolutely, I'll kick down some more stuff your way, and keep doing what you're doing. I think it's a great thing, and I think everybody else thinks so too, obviously. So yeah, just keep at it. It's awesome. Any new perspective and avenue that people can turn to for advice, and it's all it can do is help everybody. So yeah, just keep up the great work. It's phenomenal.
Cool. Awesome. Stay tuned for the CX-10-2 Cherokee build. Looking forward to sharing that with everyone.
Yeah, that'll be a cool one for sure.
Cool. All right, guys.
Well, it was very fun. Thank you, guys.
Likewise.
I'm gonna click off, and then we'll give you the information as far as where to upload the MP3 file to.
Awesome. Thanks.
Cool.
Well, have a good night.
See you guys.
See you guys.
Okay, so it hits